holy smokers, there's a lot going on in this problem, right? You got a number that's not a perfect square or not a perfect cube. You have an index that's to the cube power instead of squared. You have two variables. One is even, one is odd. Holy smokers, what do? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Who eats an elephant? I don't know. But you do it one bite at a time. Don't get overwhelmed by it. And I'm not for eating elephants, by the way. Something really big, take it one step at a time. So I'm gonna look at one thing at a time. I'm gonna look at the cube for 40 separately. I'm gonna look for cube of y to the 10th separately. I have the cube root of 7 to the 15th. Notice I remember to put the cube root on each one, because if I don't put the cube root, it changes the game, right? So here, 40, do it however way you want. I'm going to do the waterfall method again. Divided by 2 I get. Divided by, I get. Divided by, I get. The rule of the game, the index is, so what shows up 3 times? 2. Okay. So you guys are getting really good at this, right? So these showed up 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2 gets pulled outside of the radical and it just becomes a 2 outside. So therefore, my answer just for cube root of 40 is 2 sitting on the outside. Inside my radical, what do I have? 5. What am I missing? The cube root, right? Cube root. So that's the answer to this part. Everyone okay with that? Let's look at this. So I look at this and I say, okay, I'm going to use that rule of exponents. The relationship between radicals and exponents. Can I do y 10 over 3? Will this give me a whole number? No. So, yuck, right? That doesn't work. 10 over 3 is not going to work. So I say, okay, 10 cannot divide by 3, but what's a number less than 10 that can divide by 3? 9. So I'm going to rewrite this again, the power of math, right? The power of the pen and your brain. Y to the 10th, you could write it as y to what power? What's a number less than 10 that can be divided by 3? 9. So you want to pick the biggest number, right? The biggest number less than 10 is 9 that's divisible by 3. Y to the 9. But I can't change those values, y 10th, so what do I need? Times y, right? Because I need another y. So then you can put y to the 1 if it helps you to remember there's 10 y's total, right? So now I can use my nifty rule where I could do 9 divided by 3, right? So here, I could write this, take out the radical, change the radical into an exponential form. I get y 9 over 3. What's y 9 over 3? Just 3. So the exponent is just y3. So this is outside the radical. What's left inside the radical? Just y. Because I said so, that's why. Just kidding. So y to the 3rd power, and then the index is what? So don't forget the index is cubed, right? So be careful how you write it. So I'm going to make it myself more careful. I'm going to put y to the 3rd here, and then I'm going to make sure I have this cube root inside that little thingamajigger, right? So be careful of how you write it, especially when you're putting things in ALEKS and in your online homework, you put it in the right place. Last but not least, I have z. Z now, can I easily change this into exponential form? I sure can. Why? What can I do? Divide 15 divided by 3, right? So you change it to its exponential brother-sister, and what does this become? Z to the 5th, but yeah. So you only have to morph it around if it's not divisible. So you got to morph it around in a way where you could write it where there's some leftover, but that number here could be written as a whole exponent. So when I write down my final answer then, for me, when I do math, it's all about organization. Because if I try to do this in one color, I tell you, I get like, where the heck am I doing, right? I like to do things in different colors. There's no rule in math that says it has to be all in black or pencil. Do it in different colors, right? So here I have in different colors. It's so easy for me to see. I circle my final thingamajigger and combine them. So I say, okay, these three things here, this, and this, I put it all together. My final answer then, all the items outside the radical get multiplied together. What are the things that are outside the radical? 2, y to the third, z to the fifth, right? That's outside the radical. Is that everything? And then radical, what goes inside the radical? 5. Anything else inside the radical? Y. And then, what am I missing? The cube root, right? The index. So make sure you make that little index sitting right there. And that, my friends, becomes the final answer. Does anyone have any questions on this? So how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.